Good morning, everybody. I'm going to call this meeting to order. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. My name is Marla Billinghurst, and I'll be chairing the panel this morning. To my left is Mr. Robert Buss, and to my far left is Ms. Lynn Nesbitt. Our assessor this morning is Ms. Marina Tanwara, and our recording secretary is Ms. Katie Sutherland. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that applicants or the assessor make at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration, and makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing, and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the matters to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony, followed by questions that the applicant may have, and the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today, and the session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decision. You will receive the order by registered mail as soon as possible, and as information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. The first matter on the docket will be 580 Sterling Lion Parkway.
Please say your name. Marina Dantika Temara. Do you affirm that the evidence you're going to present is true and the truth? Yes. So you can affirm or swear. Okay. So please state your name.
David Nishi Benningham.
Do you swear that the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I so swear.
Thank you.
Please proceed whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Property address 580 Sterling Lion Parkway, roll number 10006767900. Property original assessed for 17,835,000. Today I am making a recommendation to reduce to 16,247,000. I will distribute the papers. Property value recommendation are mainly solely based on the rental rate reduction from $16.87 per square feet to $15.39 per square feet, based on the size factor and the other market evidence. As my understanding,
Yeah. Oh, we'll accept the recommendation.
Oh, you will be accepting the recommendation?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Ms. Nesbitt, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Mr. Buss, do you have any questions?
I have a question. On the front page it says the actual year built is 2012 and the effective year built is 2000.
Yes, that's true. Because you can see the pictures of this building. This is the design built building for the Kanadas, but the square footage is 70,000 square feet. we cannot maintain, if we keep the actual year of building, we cannot maintain the rental rate correct because of the way it's built. It's an excellent quality building. Then we purposely overrode to the actual build as a older big, because the way it's built, its size factor is a retail warehouse size factor, design factor is a design build. We kind of juggle it, the models.
Okay, thank you. I haven't seen that before. That's all the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, and I have no questions today. Thank you very much. Okay, the next matter on the docket is 147 Vermilion Road.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For property address 147 Vermilion Road, phone number 06007666000. Property value, original property value is 18,812,000. Today I am making a recommendation to reduce to 17,872,000. First I will distribute the papers, calculation.
Thank you.
This is the Canadian Tire store at Lakewood Shopping Centre. You can see the pictures attached in page number 3 for the location, page number 4 for the building, and page number 5 for the building. This Canadian Tire has the main floor retail and the gas bar and the garden center, and also the storage mezzanine area and the auto dealership, car service center, garage. When I'm moving to page number 2. Page number 2 is my comparables. Those comparables are based on the size. First 3 comparables are solely the retail warehouses, similar type of warehouses, and 750 St. James Street, Canadian Tire store, and the St. James Street. Those are my comparables. Comparables vary. Highest rate to $18.75 to $12, but $17.85 is smaller size retail warehouse than the subject property. And this subject property has a storage mezzanine area of 10,388. I'm in page number 5. Page number 5, bottom picture. That's the storage mezzanine area. We don't use this space for leasable as a leasable area. This property was inspected and corrected and all done in 2018, the value and the storage. Only we use for calculate our market value, main floor area, and the storage mezzanine for use for the office purpose. It's a second floor office storage, which is 2,477 square feet. Please, I'm not focusing on page number 6 and 7. Those are the original value. I'm focusing on the recommendation. At my recommendation, we have 90,177 square feet used as a $12.16 per square feet. And also storage mezzanine rate, we use $9.18. Vacancy loss is 4%, which is model driven. And other expenses, management including 2%, which is model driven. Shortfall is 6%, which is model driven. And cap rate 6.15, which is model driven. warehouse area market value is 16,761,000, and the other side shows the gas bar. Gas bar is the land. Gas bar, we use the leasable area as the kiosk area. Use $78.27 per square feet, which is model driven value, and total gas bar value is $1,111,000. Altogether, market value for this property $70,872,000. And this is the I have attached the trend roll, but they did not report anything because the Canadian Tire usually don't send more information. This is the book trend of 36,240. And also addenda pages. Addenda pages shows cap rate evidence. Those are more general cap rate evidence. And also non-recoverable expenses. Generally, we, as per our research analysis, we are concluding 2% is enough for this type of property for the non-recoverable expenses. So I'm kindly asking reduce the value for this property to $17,872,000. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Mr. Nishi Beckingham, were you accepting the recommendation?
No.
Okay, so do you have any questions for the assessor?
Yeah.
When you're going to your page 2, the last two rents there at 810 St. James and 695 Empress. Those are much smaller?
Yes, those are smaller. I put those ones as an indication, but those are smaller warehouses.
They're warehouses or are they retail stores?
As our definition, those categorized as retail warehouses, but the usage as 810 St. James, I think, is a Best Buy, as I remember.
That's my recall. On that one, yeah.
But it's categorized as a warehouse. It's not the truly Canadian type warehouse.
Okay.
They pay higher rents.
They have that. So that was 2014 rent, right? On that.
Yes.
The one at 775 Planet Road, was that a sale leaseback, or a leaseback that built to suit?
In our data, it is. I heard that the leaseback argument before. That's the Rona and now Lowe's, but to our understanding, they reported as a net rent of $13.00. As I remember, this $13 also is higher now, and they increased for $14 or $13.50. But it's
That would be the normal step-ups every 5 years.
yes, normal step-up for every 5 years. But
that was negotiated in their original lease. Every 5 years they have a step-up.
I don't know. I'm not 100% sure.
Because you don't have that information.
Yeah.
Okay, no further questions.
Thank you very much. Ms. Nesbitt?
Yes, I do have a question on your income stream number 2. Okay, your spare fuels, you're using a rent of 78.27. Do you have comparables for that?
This is the land lease. Most of the gas kiosks, land leases, but the methodology for the model design, we use the kiosk area and kind of come with the overall land lease close to it. But we don't have any comparables for that one. Even we cannot find it within the city because most of the gas bars are the land leases.
Okay. Your cap rate, 615 that you've applied to both income streams.
Yes.
I'm just looking at your table on page 9. Does this fall into which retail?
You are on page 9?
I am.
Okay. We can tell about the power center because it's no 100% comparison for this one, but we are not contesting for the cap rate for this value.
You're not contesting?
No, we are not contesting
It's
any
the
of the
rents.
parameters, only the rent.
Okay, but regardless,
Yeah.
it is considered a power center?
We cannot consider as a power center, but that's the only thing I could think about because this is not the neighborhood shopping center, this is not the regional, this is not the strip mall. Then that's the only thing I could think about.
Okay.
But rejecting other things
Okay.
because it has a gas bar, it has a garden, auto and everything.
Okay.
That could be the possibility, but it's not the 100% accurate.
So what are these other comparables then, since we're focusing on rent?
Okay, first one, it is the Rona.
Yeah.
Second one, Rona and Lowe's. Third one, Canadian Tire. Fourth one, Canadian Tire. Fifth one, I can't remember exactly what it is. And also, I think Canadian Tire. No, I am not going to talk the below ones under the 50,000 ones. It is not in my mind. I can't recall. I know 810 St. James is a Best Buy.
Yeah.
Portage Avenue. No, I don't want to guess anything.
Okay. So we're not sure about 1399.
No,
Mass,
because
Portage, or
yeah.
Regent?
Yeah, this property was actually originally scheduled for December 5th. I did my whole homework at that time. I can't remember those ones.
Fair enough. Okay.
The major ones, honestly, my focus comparables are the best comparable for this property is the 2305 Mac Phillips, which is the Canadian Tire. They pay $12 per square feet. And also St. James, they pay $17.50 per square feet. Those are leases. Those both are leases.
Okay.
2 leases. Then also McGuire and Planet Road, those are which is Rona and Lowe's. They have a kind of argument about the lease back, but our information does not show any lease back information. But I heard the argument. But
And do these ones have mezzanine floors as well?
yes, every property. I inspect all the Canadian Tire within the city. All inspected, all corrected for the last cycle. We signed 15 months for last cycle, but not this cycle. This is the last Canadian Tire I'm sitting on. I sit all the Canadian Tires. This $12.16, very consistent with all the Canadian Tires we use in the city. And the mezzanine rate, very consistent with the we use in the city. Connection, Canadian Tire, Region, Canadian Tire, all of the Canadian Tires. This is the last Canadian Tire I'm sitting on.
You must be happy to get rid of the Canadian Tires. Okay, thank you. No more questions.
Thank you, Mr. Buss.
On the front page, you have actual years built and effective years built. Did they put an addition on this store sometime?
As I remember, Canadian Tire did not do addition, but they do the garden center, additional for the garden center. I think gas kiosk, effective age is different than the main floor. And that's I remember.
Would these effective years built affect the rent that's being charged against it being used?
Effective, you mean the effective year bill it has the effect for the rental rate?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Is there any rent on the garden center?
No, it's all included. Because even the $12.16 we use for main floor, it includes the garden center area, it includes the auto sales, the auto service area, it includes the main floor area, it includes all the tire mezzanine in the second floor tire mezzanine, and also includes the mezzanine area of 10,038, which used for the inventory storage, as the inventory storage shown in the page number 5.
Okay, so on page number 5, where it shows some metal fencing there, that's not what you're calling the garden center.
These ones?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. No, we don't, this kind of patio we don't use for the, no, not at all.
Okay.
It's a seasonal.
That's all my question, thanks.
My questions were covered already. You guys are very thorough this morning. Okay, thank you very much. Please proceed with your presentation.
So, with regards to the areas and the rent supplied, if you look at the assessor's recommendation on page, they've broken it out into retail warehouse and office, storage office mezzanine area. That's basically in this case, it's the second floor. They've got their offices where their computers are, the staff room, and that sort of stuff. So, the assessors applied a different rate, but if you sort of blend it together at the total potential rent divided by the total leasable area, you get $12.08. Is what the assessors are using. And when they're doing a comparison against the other lease rates, that's the overall lease rate that they're doing the comparison on, I believe. So if you look at the assessors, page 2, especially for the Canadian Tire ones, that total leasable area would be what you do a direct comparison to on that. So I will turn to my brief and quickly go through that. And just on page 3 of my brief, just requesting an assessed value of $14,586,000. Skipping along to page 7, we discussed the photographs of the subject site. And page 8, just showing again the aerial of the subject site and the Google Maps area there. We did a quick provincial overview and Winnipeg overview of economic conditions. Going off to page 20, basically saying that it's stabilized with unlike some of the other prairie provinces, it's stabilized but no great growth, but no shrinkage of the economy. Turning to page 21, we've done an overview of what's happening in retail. And this is the big concern that a lot of these large format stores are having, is that the retail environment has changed quite a bit in the last couple of years. We talk about the figure 1 there showing all the retailers that are downsizing. This is for the United States data. And then turning over to page 22, we see these were a list of properties that have been closing and downsizing within Canada. And then we see on figure 2, the market for anchor-sized retail is shrinking tremendously. And this is basically what's left. And if you can look on that figure 2, obviously the Target ones have gone since then, and then the Sears have gone since then as well. So again, it's even shrinking more. Taking a look at sort of what happened with regards to the Target stores on page 23 and page 24, we'll go through the status of the Sears and Target backfills. Looking at page 20, on page 24 of the figure 4, we can see that out of the Sears locations closing, we've had one fill up, but only 43,000 square feet versus the 92,000 square feet that they had. The rest remaining vacant. And if we go over to figure 5 on page 25, top of the page, we take a look at what happened to the Targets. And the Target stores, basically, two options. There was 4 of them there. 2 of them basically were redeveloped. The entire site was redeveloped, so those gross leasable areas were taken off the market basically and changed to different use. Then there was 2 releases. There was of the Walmart that took over the Target space for 98,000 square feet, and then there was the Grants Park Canadian Tire, which actually didn't take up the entire space, and I'll talk about their lease agreement a little bit further. They took a good chunk of the space, but they didn't take the entire space, and then it was split between that and Good Life Fitness. Just it's had an effect on the overall vacancy within malls. And the main reason going through this is to show that there is an excess supply of large format retail space within Winnipeg. And when you have an excess supply, that will affect the overall rental rates that can be achieved from them. So our main concern with regards to Canadian Tire is the rental rate that was applied. Looking at page 27, just talking about the income approach, talking about on page 28, definitions of market rent. And this is where I think the assessor and ourselves disagree with what's been applied. The assessor has used base rents. What's the reported net income from the property. That's the base rent. But that's not a reflection of what market rent is, or what that's a reflection of contract rent. So when it's we'll talk about here, when it's a sale leaseback or built to suit, those haven't been exposed to the open market, and their financing arrangements is what they really are. They're not true market rents. The other one is step-ups. A lot of these properties have, when they sign a 15-year lease, they have a step-up every 5 years already in the lease. And so if you're reporting the net income of the second step-up or the third step-up in that lease, that's not a true market rent of what was negotiated back when they negotiated the rate there. So that's had discussion of that on page 29. Basically, we're relying on the market rent, and then a discussion about the build-to-suit determination of fair market rents on page 30 to 29 and 30, and then going on to page 31 to talk about the subject property here. So if you look at figure 1, we looked at the Canadian Tire and Walmart locations, and see what leasing rates there are available at those locations. And the 2 newest ones was the 1080 Grant, which we talked about earlier, and the for the Walmart one was at 35 Lakewood. And so the 1080 Grant was at 675, and the Lakewood one was at 666. Just going through some of these ones, I will get you to go to page 64. And that was a lease analysis basically of the 2 that the assessor had there, which were Canadian Tire leases at 720 St. James and 2305 Phillips. These were leases and renegotiated leases partway through their term. I'll just, in a minute, when we get there. So 720 St. James, it was originally a 2000 lease. It was a 20-year lease. And then at 1060 was the yearly amount less the incentive there. They had a revision in 2008, so 8 years into the term, and you have to remember what's happening around 2008. That's the time frame that Target is coming into the marketplace. Or there's rumors of Target coming into the marketplace. So a lot of the large format retailers wanted to put a lot of money into their stores to upgrade them to get ready for this heavy competition of Target. So they had an amendment 8 years into the term. They expanded the space by 9,500 square feet. They had an inducement of $1.8 million. And they created new lease rates, blending that in 2008 of 1630, and then this is what the assessor has on their rate, was the step up from 2011 to 2023 at 1750. That's what the assessors used at 1750 in their brief. That would average over the term 1726. Subtracting out the incentive gives you an amount net rent of about 1541. Again, looking at 2305 McPhillips, which is what the assessor is using there as well. Again, that was an original 1998 year, and 10 years into the 15-year term, they renegotiated the rate and got a $1 million inducement to upgrade their stores. They had new term amounts from 2008 to 2018 at $11 for the first chunk and $12 at the second chunk. If you look at the $12 step-up rate, that's what the assessor is using in their analysis, is the step-up rate. That would be an average of the term of 1150, and then when you take the inducement into account, it comes to 1043. The problem with both of these leases is obviously it wasn't fully exposed to the market. The market has changed since then. But the first one wasn't fully exposed to the market. If I'm already in a lease contractual agreement and then I renegotiate with the landlord so that I can get some upgrades and upgrade my store, it's different than if it was fully exposed to the market and everyone had an opportunity to it. And the second one being in 2008, a time frame when the market was looking at some pretty heavy competition coming in. As we've seen earlier, it's subsequently changed since then. So I included on page 65 the copy of the excerpts from the lease between for the Walmart store of 35 Liquid Boulevard, and signed off between Target, Walmart, and the Morgard, being the landlord, agreeing that Walmart can take over the space and use the space. Now there's some discussion about whether this is a good transaction because it was a time when Target was leaving, and that the landlord, what options did the landlord have at that time? I would put forward out that pretty much that was the option the landlord had. There wasn't much available in the market or people in the market looking for large format stores at that time. As we can see from what happened, it was basically redevelop or have people take over old contract rents is what they could do. But it was fully exposed there. And that was in at the $6.66. I turn this over to page 75, or page 70 of 75. I've got the leasing amendment agreement for Canadian Tire real estate here. And you can see this again, this was an old lease that was taken over by Canadian Tire, but it's a direct agreement with Grants Park Venture, who's the landlord, and Canadian Tire. And we can also see in here that under tenant allowances, the landlord gave the tenant, Canadian Tire, $3.5 million to do renovations to the store. So they took over an old lease, and the landlord gave me $3.5 million. So it was more than just an old negotiated lease. They did not take over the entire space. And they got a big chunk of cash from the landlord. And this one came in at $675. Now, those both were stores within malls, strip malls, so they would represent the lower end of the range on rents versus a standalone store. And so we've estimated a $10 square foot rent for the overall blended rate on page 34. And just on the shortfall amount there, that's just a typo. The math should work out right, but it's $6 a square foot. The 12 there.
That 12 should be $6?
Yeah, it should be $6. The math works out. The formula works out, but we just said type $12 there for some mistake. Okay. So what we did is to try to go back and look at our rents and try to do some benchmark to see whether that rent seems reasonable. And we did a cost approach for the subject. One, because it's standalone, and two, because prudent tenant like Canadian Tire, they own a lot of their own stores. They know how much it costs to build a store. They shouldn't theoretically be paying more for the store than what it would cost for them to rebuild the appreciated value of a similar type property. And that's under the principle of substitution, which I outlined in here as well. So just talk a little bit about the cost approach. We did pulled on page 39 of 75 there, the discount warehouse store, sprinklers, package unit on page 41. So on page 41, we tried to do a look to see what, and this is where our difficulty with the cost approach came about, is looking for land sales and coming up with some land values. And there are some, we did take a look at assessed values for that, basically because we couldn't find any land sales out there to come from. So I know the board doesn't see that as evidence of market value. However, we're using this as a benchmark to try and reflect what's out there and values. So we have a review of vacant commercial land in the city, and on page 42, we tried to apply a size curve to it, and we came up with a land rate of $600,000 an acre, which would give a land value of $4.08 million, which is on page 43. Page 44, we did a Marshall and Swift costing for the site, And then we did on page 45, our calculations, replacement cost new, less depreciation, less GST equals depreciated replacement costs. Depreciated cost plus land value would give us our cost approach. We had a cost approach coming in at about $8 million. Yeah, we think there may be something wrong with regards to the land valuation on that, but it certainly didn't come in higher, showing that our rental rate was too low for that. And so we were reconciliating on the income approach to value at the $14,586,000. That includes the valuation for the gas bar as well. Basically changing the rental rate to $10 a square foot.
Thank you very much. Do you have questions?
Yes, I do. And also, I would like to present the rebuttal package information. It's solely, it's originally designed for both properties, but I'm only focusing on the portions for this one.
Sure.
I will go through the question and rebuttal at the same time.
Sure.
Then I'm not going to repeat anything.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. My first attention for page number 32 on applicant's brief. Page number 32. The applicants, applicants page number 32. I'm presenting my rebuttal based on what today I heard in the briefs, applicant's brief. Figure 1, retail leasing rates. My page number 1. On my rebuttal,
okay.
And you can
check. So we're referencing
back and forth.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is for the Garden City Canadian Tire. Rental rate reported, net rate reported $12 per square feet, and which is because in Manitoba we don't use any tenant inducements or tenant improvements to adjust the net lease rental rates. But as per the applicant's brief, the lease rents are adjusted accordingly, the either additional building area or the additional lease tenant inducements or tenant inducements, anything. But in Manitoba, we have municipal board agreements, board orders. We don't use those ones. We use as it reported. So $12 Mac Phillips is a Canadian Tire. As the page number 1, it was reported as a $12 net rent. I'm moving to page number 2. It is a Canadian Tire St. James. It was reported $17.50 per main floor net rent, and also it was reported land lease area amount of $63,000 gross amount per year for the gas bar area. My page number 3
It is for Walmart's out there. Even this lease actually, even though it's present as a January 2016 negotiated lease, it was negotiated at the seller's time. In 1965, lease rate is $6.66. In my page number 3, you can see, as per the applicant's brief, it was lease start date mentioned as the January 2016, but which was negotiated in 1965. It is a conflict of information, but I think it's an interpretation. I'm presenting as an interpretation of information, but as our understanding, as the departmental data, it presents 1965 lease. And I'm moving to page number 4. Those are the Walmart leases, lease pages. We don't have entire lease. They never submitted the entire lease, but we have some lease excerpts from time by time for the board of revision we got for. The Walmart, I will talk in general, Walmart. Walmart built an addition in later years, but Walmart lease negotiated for original amount of area. Original amount of area dividing by annual rental value, we get $8.57. When they built an addition, they decided to divide annual rental value by new area with the addition. Then rental rate reduced to $8.57, Keneston rate to $6.60. It is the interpretation of the information. It is not the original lease rent for the Walmart. The 3 Walmart rents here, Keneston and Region, and the Portage is the same thing. It is originally negotiated for the different amount, and later they built an addition and using their own money, and then they don't pay for extra rent for the additional amount. That's how lease amounts were changed. You can see I attached the pictures of the addition, page number 7, 8. You can see those all the information, even the lease area, original lease area, what's the original rent they paid, and how they interpret today. It's the interpretation. And also, I have attached some, page number 10. Oh, sorry, before I move to page number 10, page number 34 applicant's brief. This original in market value did not include the building value for the gas bath. Additional building value for the gas bath.
Sorry, which?
Page number 34 in your brief. In department, when we can value the gas bath, we use rental rate plus the additional building value, which represents the underground gas tanks and all the other building values, but it did not include in page number 34. Is it right?
Sorry, how much was the extra gas first on that?
Additional building value for my recommendation, $336,000.
That's correct, yeah. You are correct. We should add to that value of the $336,000.
Okay. That means you are 14,586,000
Sorry,
plus
I'm just trying to follow with. Oh, okay, there it is.
page
Yeah.
number 34.
Yes.
So that's 14,586,000.
I'll correct the value. Mistake. Try my calculator. Yes, 14,922,000. Rounded.
14,922,000.
Yes.
Okay, now I'm going to my page number 10. Those are the previous municipal board orders we signed for Canadian Tire for the 2016 cycle. And most of them are board orders we signed for, municipal board orders we signed for Canadian Tire and the Home Depot. Which shows at that time we used the Home Depot $12.25, Canadian Tire we used $11. $0.30. And also my page number 17 to those all the municipal board orders. We don't use the tenant inducement to adjust the market rent. Those small board orders show about those information, but in general sense, we don't use any of the tenant inducement to lower the market rent per square feet. And page number 26, 27, 28, those are the Canadian Tire pictures about the mezzanine, but we don't use those areas as the leasable area. Those are there as added amenity to the main floor, but we don't use those areas for the main floor area of $12. So that $12 actually represent those areas too, but we don't calculate those ones. Then page number 33. It's a municipal board order. That's all the municipal board orders. I don't give much weight on those ones for my presentation. You can see our rental rates we used before are the exact same kind of retail warehouses. Very close to what I'm proposing today, $12. Mostly we stay in the $12.25 or $11.30 or $11. With the market evidence, today I'm presenting $12 and in my rebuttal, and I'm solely moving to page number 46 on applicant's brief. Just to mention, cost approach, you do not include the gas bar valuation once you run the cost. Is that right?
That is correct. Let me just double check this to make sure they did that, but I don't think they did. I think the gas bar. No, they did not have the gas bar in there.
Okay, that's cost values just for the building. And also, I saw some conflicting information in page number 50. It has a different value than the page number 33. I just want to clarify.
Yeah, so there was on that we had a different rental rate on the gas bar in our original review, but
you are not focusing.
We're not relying on that because we couldn't find any evidence with regards to that. So that's why that number is slightly different there. But sticking to the page, the requested income approach conclusion page.
Okay, and page number 64 at your brief. And 720 and 720 St. James and 2305 McPhillips Street. You use the tenant induced and lower the rental rate.
That is correct.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. That's all my questioning and my presentation.
Okay, thank you. I know you guys probably have questions for the applicant and questions for the assessor on.
Yeah, I have some questions. for the
Yeah,
assessor
so
on the
I'm just
rebuttal
wondering,
documents
perhaps
specifically.
maybe I'll let you go ahead with your questions on the rebuttal, and then you guys can ask your questions on both. Would that be okay with you?
Good, yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, just want to make sure that's, I don't want you guys to forget any questions, 'cause- okay, so,
Okay.
oh, sure. So go ahead with your
Thank you.
questions on the rebuttal.
So turn to your page 1, I guess, if
Page
you're on
one.
document. This is 1305 McPhillips. Now, according to this, it says this was an original lease in 1998,
Yes.
and that they're currently getting $12 a square foot.
Yes.
So that is their face rent, that's what it's listed, and that's the rate you use, correct? That's what they're reporting as a net rent,
I know.
and that's it.
Ah.
So that's the face rent, correct?
I don't know about the face rent and net
Well,
rent,
let's-
but
well,
it's
let's-
a net rent.
Well,
As per the reporter.
it's a triple net rent.
Yes.
There's no question about that. We can both agree that it's a triple net rent.
Triple net rent.
Yes. Now, what we're trying to determine is a market rent,
Yes.
right? What is negotiated in the market, right? Okay. This $12, is that a current market rent? Meaning that it was exposed to the market, it was negotiated between a willing vendor and a willing purchaser with no undue distress, or is this just a cash base amount showing a step up from previous rents?
But this location is currently not
Oh.
available to discuss and negotiate in today because it's
Yeah.
already leased and negotiated that time
Okay.
for the rent.
Okay, so
But
so that's great. So you're saying it was pre-negotiated. So was it pre-negotiated at 98? And now you're reflecting a cash value that they're receiving today?
I honestly don't know how many times we negotiated later because we don't have fully leased agreement to see that $12 set up at 1998 or later because they usually don't send those information. We don't have it, but only we know they have 3 step-ups, but I don't know about what time they
So-
renegotiate in 2018 or not. I don't know.
Okay. So you know they have step-ups.
Yes,
You know they have 3 step-ups
yes.
from the lease.
But that's all they
So this
reported
would
in
be,
here.
that's right. So, because you send out income request statements every year requesting
Yeah.
information, so you know that there's been a step-up on
Yes.
the rent,
Yes,
right?
that's right, but
Okay.
we don't know
But-
the lease detail.
Okay, but you know it's been stepped up.
We know what was the rental rate and what is right now
Right.
as per the.
And what
information
conclusion can you
given.
draw if it's a continuation of a current rent, of a current lease, that's gone from one rent to a new rent, without a new lease being put in place? Would the conclusion be that that is a step up?
Yeah, it is a step up,
Okay,
but I
thank
don't
you.
know about when it was negotiated.
okay.
Again, I give
Okay.
the answer.
Yeah, okay, so you don't know what was negotiated.
Yeah.
So the information supplied on page 64, would that be of assistance to know which was on what the negotiations were? How that came about? That would be on the lease analysis page, showing 2305 in my brief.
No, it
So-
isn't
so
an
if you-
inducement.
So, okay, but if you see that here from 2008 to 2013, they were paying $11, and they negotiated in 2008 to pay $12 from 2013 to 2018. Would that be reflective of a market rent today?
If I tell you the truth, without seeing entire lease, I cannot answer those questions because the lease are so different to different. I don't know what time they negotiate for inducements, what are the bases on the inducement. I don't know anything. I never seen the lease agreement, and we don't have the lease agreement. Then I can answer the questions,
Okay.
honestly.
So you okay, that's fine. Similar line of questioning, I guess, goes to your number 2. Again, that's on your page 2 of your brief. That's $1,750. That's the current triple net base rent that they are paying, correct? Okay. Now, if I go to page 3, you are saying that this is a 1965 rent, correct?
Yes.
Okay. But in your previous 2 statements, if I go to your page 1, you didn't tell me that that was a 1998 rent.
But I told you very clearly, it was in 1998. I don't know about when they negotiated or anything, because even the $6.66, they very clearly put it here. It is a 1965 to 2022 lease. They said for the one number. That's why I'm telling very clearly. It is because it does not show any step-ups here.
Yeah.
Then
So you don't know,
leases.
on your page 1, again, you don't know if that was a 1998 rent, they've been paying $12 a square foot, but you told me they haven't been paying $12.
No, I'm telling 1998, they set up the rental rate. I never seen the lease. I don't know because they set up the 3 steps. But in 1965, they set up for one number. Then we can clearly see it is 1965 to 2022. They pay the exact same amount. That's my knowledge. Yeah.
Okay. So if I can get you to turn to page 65 of 75.
Page 75 in
65.
Page 65 of 75 in my brief.
in your brief. Okay.
What is the date of that agreement on there?
11th day of June 2016.
Was Walmart around in 1965 in Canada?
It is for this one.
So I'm going back. Was Walmart in Canada in 1965?
I don't know, but as I know, South they were negotiate for sellers. Then they transfer to the Target, then transfer to the Walmart.
Okay.
That's
And-
how it transaction went.
Okay. And this was signed by Morguard Real Estate Investment, which is the landlord, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. On your page 4. And this is the Walmart lease for Unicity Mall. And you're saying that the current square footage is different than the 128,000?
Unicity Mall is the exact same thing. You can see about 128,000 on 252. I think it's just small number. It's not a big
So
number.
it's roughly the same square footage. There hasn't been an addition on that
No,
one yet.
it's the $8.31 per square feet.
Okay.
You put it $8.24.
Yeah.
It's not a big discrepancy.
Very
But the
small.
Keniston region and the,
So let's look at 1665 Keniston.
okay.
You're saying that is coming in at $8.57 per square foot?
Yeah. At that time, the square footage 127,951. As of today,
Okay.
it is 158,332.
Great. So in this lease then, this includes land and building?
Yes.
So the only difference between, and then they added what is approximately 30,000 square feet, I'm assuming, here, to the square footage, and they're not paying any additional rent. So Walmart paid for that 32,000 square foot addition, and they're not paying any additional rent.
But
Correct?
we have only this page before.
Yeah.
Previously, they submitted for the business assessment.
Yes.
But we don't see any of the other pages. I don't know. But because this page,
Sorry,
That-
I'm sorry, what don't you know?
I don't know about any other information. I only know the square footage, what was the previous square footage, which is 127,951. What was they paid annual basic rent?
Yes.
Divided this number divided by this number, $8.57. That is
So-
the only information I got from here. All the other information I got from they submitted permits. I go and check the permits, those ones. Then any of the question align with the lease detail, I don't know.
So on this one, you've now got income returns from the landlord, I'm assuming, on this property?
I don't know.
So you don't know what they're collecting, but in your testimony, you said that they're...
yeah, they are
that
collecting-
in your testimony, you said they're not paying any more, it's just a larger square footage.
Yeah,
Correct?
as on my understanding, they are paying exact same annual base rent as of today.
So, but they're approximately 30,000 square feet larger, correct?
Yes.
And they're not paying any more rent?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and that's similar to 1576.
Yes, but I wanted to add one thing, but I can ask question from you if you like. Do you know how spend the money to build the addition?
Sorry.
Wait,
who paid that?
no, it's the applicant's turn to ask questions right now.
Wait for that one. I do know, and I can answer that
Okay.
question when we get there.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so when we get to that question, I will answer it with the best of my ability.
Okay, sure.
Now, we were going through some of your municipal board orders, and you said that if I wrote down correctly, that in previous cycle you were using $11 for the Canadian Tire?
Give me 1 second, I need to go through here. 720 centuries. We use my page number, sorry, is 11 and 12. We are using $15.77 for the St. James previous cycle. It's not the previous cycle, it is the roll year of 2016.
Okay. When you're going through here, I just wrote down that you said
Okay.
you were using $11 for Canadian Tire.
$11.30 for the Canadian Tire.
For which? Sorry, I
I
didn't
think I
understand.
understand. But it does not have a municipal board order here. I
Right.
can go through
Right,
all
no,
the
that's fine, no, I just wanted to clarify.
sure.
Because I was just writing notes, and
Yeah.
$11 was lower than the 12 that you're recommending, so I wanted to just get a clarification
Oh
on
yeah,
that
it's the last
point.
year, yeah.
So that was the last cycle was
Last cycle.
$11 or $11.30? Not quite sure. You
I
said two
think
numbers.
$11.30 because
Okay.
I did all the Canadian tires,
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I took them all
exactly.
too, I can't remember either, so.
Yeah, I have a
needed-
Keniston
Okay.
Home Depot one, it's $12.25.
Okay.
It's in page number 16
Right.
for last
But-
cycle.
Right, so the Canadian tires were 11 to
11:30.
11:30, somewhere.
11:30, yes,
Yeah,
I remember.
okay,
For
okay.
Keniston.
On there, okay. Okay.
Plus
Thank
the
you.
mezzanine. We use the same rate for mezzanine.
So, I just wanted to go to just to talk about the mezzanine space there, just to help clarify, because I know you pointed it out and you said, well, we haven't really used that area. But you have in fact used the footprint of that area, right? You just haven't used the 2 floors.
Oh no, we don't.
So in your 92,000 square feet,
does not include the mezzanine.
It doesn't include the mezzanine area, but it includes the ground floor.
Yes, it
Yes,
does
it
include the
includes
ground
ground
floor.
floor.
But
So-
it's the mezzanine we consider as an added amenity to the retail store.
So if you were to use, say, you're using $12 as a blended rate, for example.
No.
Well, okay, if I go to your recommendation,
Okay.
you are using $9 for office, for second floor office,
Yes.
right?
Which is we always agree,
Right.
the
Okay.
office only.
Right, and you're using $12.16
For the main
retail warehouse.
Yes, but
But the mezzanine space, you're saying the mezzanine, that includes ground floor, just not the mezzanine area, right?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So in that ground floor
If
rent,
if I add the mezzanine to that 90,177, the total area will be 10,000 something.
bigger, yeah.
That 10,000
So I
that value is
guess
not.
my question is, because if we look at those pictures, they basically take the retail space and height and split it in half, because they've got mezzanine there.
But no,
So-
they don't reduce the retail floor to ceiling height to make the mezzanine, but it's an additional space, but we don't consider as a leasable area, mezzanine. But if you and me both went there, but
Yeah.
we didn't see the area in the mezzanine, we didn't see the lower ceiling height on that area, no, right? It's the exact same main floor and the mezzanine, but not
I guess if I don't know if it's worth going into, but I'm just trying to get across to the board. The question is from you on the. Let me just go here. There were some pictures there.
You try to find the mezzanine pictures, 26, 27.
Right, okay. So if I look at page 27, top of page 27, that's the ground floor going up to the second floor.
Yes.
Or the
That's the back of
mezzanine, yeah.
the
And you can
floor.
see that they're all on, you see these metal bars, it's just racking.
Yeah.
And the mezzanine space is just all on racking.
Yeah.
It's all just straight racking. Okay. And then the main floor, basically the point I wanted to get across was, the main floor area obviously doesn't have full use, that the area's been cut in half, that they can use, because
But,
you walk on the
but
mezzanine
I
space.
honestly, that's why I really,
Yeah.
really want a clarification. My 90,000 square feet
Yeah.
does not include any of the main floor in underneath these mezzanines, those ones? No,
No.
it's just the area.
It includes the
region.
footprint, so
Yeah,
I'm
footprint.
just trying to get it clear to the board, what
Okay.
area that
I
includes.
think-
So
Wait,
let's
so,
say-
so
but-
does the 90,177 square feet, is that the footprint minus the main floor under the mezzanine? Is that what
Yes.
you're trying to
Yeah,
say?
yeah,
No.
that's what I tried to tell. The gross floor area, 114,297. That's the footprint of the building. But we only use 93,000. That means that the half space or anything is not in this 90,000. That's what I tried to
Okay, so
explain.
you deducted the main floor below the mezzanine?
Yes, yes. But that's why it's a difference in here.
No, because the difference between 92, what's the difference between 92 and 111? What's that difference? That's your 10,000 square feet, right? Roughly.
20,000.
Okay. So I guess I'm trying to get at is in the lease analysis you used for, in your lease analysis for page 1,
This is for page 1,
which is Garden City
Okay.
Tire, for example. That includes similar mezzanine space, which would be different square footage than what the assessor's using here, correct? Or than what they're reporting here is square footage?
this reporting area and the area we use could have differences. I can.
No, so what I'm trying to get at is, the way you analyze your rents
Okay.
is the same as the subject, right? So you've recognized in that 93,000 that there's mezzanine.
This 93,000
Yeah.
does not include the mezzanine because they don't
Right.
report the lease rent on the mezzanine.
Thank
It is the added amenity to the facility. It
Okay.
is included.
Okay, yeah, that's, I just wanted to
Yeah.
clarify that. Okay, so that's, okay, thank you. That's kind of what I was trying to get at in a roundabout way. Thank you. And I have one more question out there. I think that's all my questions that I have. Yeah, no, that's no further questions.
Would it be okay with everyone if we took a short recess before we continue questions?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, I'd like to call this meeting back to order. Ms. Nesbitt, I guess we will start with questions of the applicant with his, I guess,
They were so long
information. Yes, information. And we'll go through that, and then we will move to questions of the assessor's rebuttal evidence. Does that make sense, or would you like to do it the
No,
opposite way?
that's fine, and I just need to clarify because
Okay.
we've talked about so many numbers right
Yes.
now. From my understanding, my notes, you do not have any issue with the gas bar component. You're good with the rate, you're good with the additional land value,
That's
right?
correct.
You're good with the cap rate, the vacancy, all those components. Of the retail side, the issue for you is the rental rate.
Correct.
And you're requesting a rate of $10 a square foot versus the
The
assessor's blended rate of $12.08.
Correct.
Okay, so my notes have got that properly. And so your total is $14,922 once we made that adjustment
Yes.
on the gas side.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you so much for clarifying that. That's all I had.
Okay. Mr. Buss.
And a continuation, you both agree on the square footage. You were talking about but we're on the same square footage. You had said at the beginning that there's a list of all the stores that have closed over time. But have they closed any Canadian Tires, say in Manitoba, that you know of? Have any?
No, Canadian Tires, if they've closed, they've opened up a new store now, because, they moved. They have not shrunk in their size, their footprint.
Where is that? Sorry, I'm Okay. Okay, gotcha.
And I think we worked out that the assessor's leases are step-up leases, and you're saying it's your position that a step-up lease isn't really indication of market value.
That's correct.
And when those couple of leases we're dealing with, in Southdale there was when Target left, and what was the other one? The other one was on Grant Park when, I guess, would you agree with me that the landlords were desperate in those situations? They had these huge stores with nobody in them?
Well, I think that goes to the issue of the market at that time. That yes, if you look what happened to the Target stores, they either had to spend a lot of money redeveloping the space or find a tenant to lease them out. And so if they found a tenant to lease them out, that's what they could get. And otherwise they'd have to redevelop them. Since the Target times, there's more empty space available. More empty space makes more desperate landlords, makes the market oversupply. Oversupplied market is lower rental rates.
Okay, and then that's my next question, because the assessor had put forth some evidence that they were using around $11 or $11.50 in 2016. Is it your position that the rents have gone down since then?
Yes. For the large format retail space, yes. I think we've seen that just because of the amount of activity that's happened in the market and the change in the market since then.
Okay. Oh, on page 64, where it says yearly amount, is that the inducement per square foot or something, or what is that yearly amount?
Oh, so the way I calculated an inducement, they got a $1.8 million inducement,
Yeah.
which worked out to $18.84 per square foot. and you divide that over the term. So, so
I see.
8-year term. So they that gave a yearly. Basically, it's the same as a yearly amount of $1.85 off the rent.
That's all my questions, thank you. And I don't have any questions on the rebuttal evidence.
Okay, thank you. I have no questions for you. And Ms. Nesbitt, did you have any questions on the rebuttal?
I do not know.
Okay, nor did I. Okay. So I think covered all the questions. Is there a need for summary?
I will do a very quick summation. Based on today's presentation, mine and applicant, if we conclude that we are in the difference on the rental rate for main floor, it's a applicant seeking $10 per square feet, I'm seeking $12.08 per square feet for the Canadian Tire warehouse space. So my $12.08 for the base on entire presentation today. If you focus on 720 St. James, they are actually, even if we use the inducement as per the applicant, they are paying $15.41. I'm not asking $15.41. I'm asking $12.08 overall. And Mac Phillips, after the inducement, also $10.43. As for the presentation today, if it's negotiated in 1998, it was not the correct number. But today, I'm just focusing on the presentation today. So, based on those evidence, my best comparable to me is the Mac Phillips Canadian Tire, which is their net rent paying $12. So I'm concluding. Can you please reduce to value $17,872,000 for this project? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Would you summary?
So just a quick summary. Really what it comes down to is a difference in interpretation on what is market rent versus what is face rent. It looks like the assessor is using a contract or a face rent to come up with their rates, and that's not a negotiated fair market rent. The only two rents that we have available are the Walmart one and the Canadian Tire one that we talked about. And yes, the landlord was concerned and to use the word from the board, they were a little bit desperate to get someone in there. Unfortunately, that's what the market is because there are so many spaces available at the moment. And it's quite a bit different than it was in 2008, quite a bit different than what it was in 1999 in those time frames. So I'm requesting that the rent be reflected of a lower amount to the $10 a square foot. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will now close the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.